The Golden Bull, author's note. Many years ago, in an auditorium filled with rapt listeners, I listened to a lullaby played in a reproduction of a 4,750-year-old Mesopotamian lyre. The experience has stayed with me, connecting me to the people who soothed their babies long ago with that haunting melody. The Golden Bull grew out of this memory. Jomar and Zephyr, creatures of my imagination, dwelt in southern Mesopotamia, now Iraq, in 2600 BC. How is it possible to accurately portray how they lived in their farm and in the once vibrant city of Ur? One significant source of information has been the accumulation and decoding of thousands of clay tablets covered with a wedge-shaped script called cuneiform. This remarkable invention, thought to be the first written language in history, was originally designed to record everyday concerns when human memory could no longer accurately store this information. Trained scribes recorded business transactions, the inventories of storage granaries, and the payments of fines and taxes. Gradually, the scope of subject matter expanded to include legends and poems, lists of kings and their triumphant battles, musical notation, astronomical observations, anything and everything that these creative people wanted to remember. Our understanding of how the people of Mesopotamia lived is also based on the work of archaeologists whose efforts have revealed complex irrigation systems, elaborate temple ruins, and the living quarters of common people. In the 1920s, a joint expedition by the British Museum and the University of Pennsylvania was mounted to excavate the buried ruins of Ur. British archaeologist C. Leonard Woolley and his team unearthed a most astonishing discovery: a cemetery of 16 undisturbed tombs filled with human remains and grave goods made by highly skilled craftsmen, such as the goldsmith Sitta in this book. Woolley called this burial site of the royal tombs of Ur, although it has never been determined if those buried were royalty or temple officials. Among the treasures found were intricate wreaths and jewelry, a gold drinking straw over 4 feet long, skillfully carved cylinder seals, and the magnificent golden bull lyre. All are important elements in my story. Today, these stunning burial goods may be seen in the University of Pennsylvania Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology, the British Museum, and the National Museum of Iraq in Baghdad. The city of Ur, located on the western bank of the Euphrates River, is now largely covered with sand. In ancient times, the annual flooding of the river had been tamed by an ingenious irrigation system of canals, dikes, and reservoirs that enabled fields and gardens to flourish. This formerly productive region is referred to today as the Fertile Crescent. Jomar and his family, however, experienced a severe drought which sets the story in motion. As Jomar and Zephyr find out, the Euphrates was so crucial to the life of the area that it was believed the river could determine the guilt or innocence of a person accused of wrongdoing. The farmlands surrounding Ur were largely owned by the great temple of the moon god, and the maintenance of the irrigation system was supervised by temple officials. A proportion of the produce and livestock of the farms was demanded as tribute to the temple in order to maintain its staff of administrators, scribes, musicians, and craftsmen. Because the region was devoid of important natural resources, the temple also used this tribute as a barter for metal, stones, timber, and gems. These highly desirable commodities were secured by trade with the area that is now Egypt, Afghanistan, Iran, India, and Pakistan. Europe could not have survived for 3,000 years without these far-reaching exchanges. Slavery was an integral part of Mesopotamian society. Soldiers defeated in battle with neighboring cities were taken into slavery, as were people convicted of crimes or those unable to pay their debts. Children could be enslaved if found without a parent far from home, as Zephyr was, or they could be sold into slavery by their parents. But slaves could be freed by a powerful authority, such as the high priestess in the story. In the Mesopotamian belief system, humans had been created only to support and maintain the governing gods. Great attention was paid to the cycles of the sun and moon, birth and death, planting and reaping, and the ebb and flow of their mighty rivers. These concerns were embodied by a pantheon of gods and goddesses who demanded homage and gifts to prevent them from turning against their worshippers. There was also many minor deities, such as Ninkasi, the goddess of beer, for whom Zephyr created a song. Each city-state had its own patron deity, such as the moon god Nana, who was thought to inhabit the great temple of Ur. In ceremonies such as the celebration of the New Year, bounty from farmers or merchants was displayed, sheep and cattle were sacrificed, and elaborate performances were presented by temple dancers and musicians. Music was an important element in every aspect of life in ancient Mesopotamia, and artwork frequently depicts people playing various instruments. The kind of songs Zephyr sings are known to us through cuneiform tablets and are preserved in religious hymns, love songs,